But I have another book here that when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, this is interesting. But this kind of sets us up for what you've come to talk to us about today and to educate me and many of you at home about. We have a book here entitled Sprout Power. Tell us a little bit about that, and then you can kind of set us up for our discussion this evening or today.
Right, and Sprout Power is about the incredible health benefits of growing sprouts and microgreens. Right. And as I thought about our interview, normally when I come to 3ABN and do programs, you know, I'm in my suit, my tie, right, as you are, which is great and appropriate. But I thought to myself, you know, our topic specifically in this segment is going to be on health and on how to, you know, get your hands into growing sprouts and microgreens and things like wheatgrass and alfalfa and broccoli and clover. And so I thought, I think I'm going to forego the tie and wear my green shirt. And so,
no, it looks good. It looks good. I was telling you, you look like you're ready to go out into the garden any moment. So you're good.
Yeah, and I have a big garden. I live in North Idaho, and we don't have a big, long growing season because, you know, it gets winter and spring and then summer. But I still got tomatoes growing and some Swiss chard and some kale, and I've got a lot of fruit trees, plums, and there's just nothing like picking, you know, an apple or a pear or a plum from your own fruit tree. It's a blessing. But sprouting has been a big part of my life. And
so kind of give us a little bit of background on how you became so interested in sprouting, and kind of set this up. Because give us a little bit of backstory. So what brought about the interest in sprouting for you?
Yeah, and you know, before I do that, let's just put a picture of the book on the screen.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then we'll put a picture of me surrounded by all these sprouts. Okay, there's Sprout Power, a little pocket book. And now let's go to the next one that shows me surrounded by all these sprouts, just to let people know that, yes, I really do this. That's awesome. Me and my kids. My kids are eating sunflower greens there. And so I've been doing this for over 40 years. As you mentioned, you know, you didn't grow up in the church, and I didn't either. I grew up in North Hollywood, Studio City, Southern California, and I lived a wild life. I grew up in a very secular Jewish home, and as a teenager, I just took the plunge into a wild life of the parties and the concerts and the discos and drugs. And somewhere during my teenage years, I started thinking about health. And how, you know, because I was doing all these crazy things, I needed to make sure that I didn't, you know, fall over and die. And that I needed to be concerned about my health as well. And it seems strange, you know, I'm going to the disco, staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning, using drugs, and thinking about health. But again, I didn't know anything about God. I wasn't thinking about the Bible. I was just thinking about doing something for my body. And somehow, in that course of time, as a teenager, I learned about the incredible health benefits of growing your own sprouts and microgreens. So I began to do this in my bedroom. And I learned how to do this, and I read books on sprouting, and so I would grow all these sprouts in my room or in my bathroom, in the kitchen sometimes, and I would create these massive sprout salads that were just raw, organic, no spray, no pesticides, living, and I'd put avocado and lemon and some seasonings, and I would just devour these sprout salads. And oh man, I tell you, they were good. And I can't say for sure, but I think that one of the things that got me through my teenage years or helped me to maintain my health was the fact that I was growing a lot of sprouts. And I've continued to do this, even, you know, after I became a Christian at the age of 20, which was 41 years ago. I continued to sprout, and I learned more about health, about what people call the 8 laws of health. You know, the New Start program: nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And the N for New Start, which comes to nutrition, the word nutrition. There's hardly anything that you can put into your body that has more nutritional punch and power than growing your own sprouts and microgreens.
Wow, okay.
So I've been doing this for a long time.
You got me hooked. You got me hooked.
And I've been through, in the course of my Christian life, I've been through some dark days, some real struggles, some real battles, which I'm sure you have. And I believe that consistently adding sprouts to my diet has helped my body to weather
Wow.
many storms. And so now I'm 61, and just before I came here, I got up at 5:30 in the morning and I ran, I walked and ran about 4 miles. And God is blessing my health, and I think that growing sprouts is a big part of that.
Okay. All right. So sprouting. What is it when you talk about sprouting? What's happening when the sprouting process is taking place? Kind of walk us through that.
Right, sure. Yeah, basically what sprouting is, I mean, everything that grows, that's a vegetable. We all know that vegetables are good for us, fruit's good for us, whether it's a fruit or a vegetable. It all starts with a seed.
Okay.
And when you sprout a seed, basically you take a seed, and I'll actually show our viewers in a little bit how to grow lentil sprouts in their house. But when you take a seed and you put it in water, or you surround it in water, you activate it, and it begins to germinate. And so the little seed, whatever kind of seed it is, begins to grow. And there's something miraculous that most people have never even thought of, and that is that when a seed begins to grow and it gets bigger, the nutrition that it is getting in order for it to get bigger is not coming from the water. If you're just putting a seed or some seeds in a little jar of water, but the nutrients within the seed, when it begins to germinate, actually begin to multiply. It's just like when a human is conceived inside a woman.
Yeah.
You know, you have this this one new zygote. The sperm meets the egg and it becomes a zygote.
Right.
And then what happens is that zygote divides. And you have a perfect copy of the DNA on both sides, and then it divides again and divides again and divides again. And so the divisions are happening on its own. Wow. And that's what happens with a seed. A seed begins to multiply its vitamin A, its vitamin B, its vitamin C, its different vitamins and minerals and nutrients and phytochemicals, and all these different things begin to just multiply.
It's a miracle.
That's right. And what people don't realize is that the nutritional profile within a growing seed is very, very powerful. And the nutrients multiply sometimes 100, 200, 300 times what's in the original seed. And those who have researched growing seeds and sprouts and microgreens, when you grow a little seed about this big, it's a sprout. You can grow it a little bit bigger. Right. But then when you grow it a little bit bigger into the next stage where the little leaves start coming out, and then it becomes what's called a microgreen. Those who have done nutritional scientific research on this have concluded that when you take from the seed to the full broccoli head in the garden, its peak nutritional density is at the microgreen stage.
Really?
And if you take a pound of broccoli microgreens and then put a pound of broccoli from your garden, pound for pound, there is a lot more nutrition in the broccoli sprouts and microgreens than there is even in your own garden.
That is interesting.
And so what the whole thing of sprouting is all about is learning how to grow these seeds so you can get those nutrients into your body, and they will benefit every cell of you.
It's amazing. So as you're describing this, I can tell you've got it down to a science, but it's also a miracle in and of itself, because how do you explain how that happens, right?
That's
how
right.
a baby comes about, it's a miracle
and how
work of God.
a seed grows.
Right.
And these days people are a lot of people are concerned about their health.
Sure.
And we all know that because of commercial farming, the soil, that many of the things that you get in the market, the soil is not what it used to be. And that affects the nutrients that are in what you buy at Walmart.
Sure.
And people are also concerned about heavy pesticide use, a lot of pesticides. And then there's the transit time. When you first pick something, by the time it gets to the market and then gets to you, there's nutritional degradation. And then people are concerned about genetically modified foods. And there's just a whole host of concerns about, the nutrients that we're getting, even if you go to a market and buy produce.
Right.
And the beauty of growing sprouts is that you're doing it yourself. You're not spraying it. It's non-GMO. It's alive. There's no chemicals, and there's no transit time from picking it, 2 weeks later when it gets in the market. But you can actually grow these sprouts. You can put them in a salad, in a wrap, in a sandwich, and you can just get the full benefit
Right.
of something living, which you just, there's really hardly any comparison. I mean, you can take supplements, you can take pills,
Wow.
you can do the best you can with your diet, but when you eat a lot of sprouts, you are getting a dose of nutrition that you just can't get anywhere else.
Right.
And it's not hard to do, it's inexpensive. People say, well, I don't have a garden, so I can't grow. I don't have land, so I can't grow. Yes, you can. You can have a garden in your kitchen.
That's right.
As people say, well, I don't have a lot of money. You don't need a lot of money. People say, well, I don't have much room. You don't need much room. All you need is a place under your sink and some water and some seeds. As people say, well, I don't have a green thumb, I can't do this.
Right.
You don't need a green thumb. You can learn the simple ways of growing sprouts.
Right.
And once you get this and figure out how to do it and the benefits of doing this on a regular basis, I mean, it's I'm a believer. As you saw that picture with me surrounded by all these sprouts, I'm a believer.
So let's talk about those benefits, because you've been doing this for a while. There was once a time when you didn't do it, and there's a time you started doing it. So what are some extra added health benefits that someone might experience if they start doing the sprouting and eating them?
Yeah, there's a whole host of benefits. You could Google the health benefits of sprouting. In my little book, Sprout Power, there's a long list. I mean, it gives nutrients to every cell in your body. Sprouts are loaded with fiber, so they help things move through the digestive tract. They do things for the walls of your arteries.
Right.
They provide nutrients to every single organ of the body. I mean, the list just goes on and on. They help with your eyes. They help with different kinds of, many of them are very highly anti-cancer, such as there's a chemical in broccoli sprouts, which has been well researched.
Right.
It's called sulforaphane, and studies have shown that it is a potent anti-cancer nutrient. And so whether it's cancer, heart disease, diabetes, the list goes on, any major condition is going to be, your body will be stronger when you regularly eat sprouts and microgreens. COVID-19, people are concerned about getting the coronavirus. And if you build up your nutrients when this virus comes in to your nose or into your mouth, and then, the little crown attaches itself to different cells inside your nasal cavity or inside your respiratory tract, if those cells that the coronavirus attaches it to are strong, your body is much more able to fight this virus. And so you build up those cells, you build up your immune system through eating a healthy diet, and sprouts and microgreens are just top notch.
That's amazing. Wow. So I've had sprouts before. I've never actually done it myself, with the exception of sprouting beans, which I think you're going to give us a little bit of a demo or walk us through the process in just a moment. But I've had sprouts on sandwiches, I've had sprouts on wraps, I've had sprouts on salads, and they're just it seems like an extra added, I don't know, I call it like a happy additive, a happy substance to it. Just kind of gives substance to your food, and they taste great. And so I've enjoyed them as well. I just don't, now that I'm hearing you talk about it, I'm learning on all the benefits, and you're going to walk us through in just a moment. So, you've spoken about reasons to sprout. People don't sprout, right? So there's reasons people don't sprout, but obviously you're here to tell us why we need to sprout. And I want to just talk about now, kind of walk us through the process of the sprouting process, because you've mentioned broccoli sprouts. I've heard of alfalfa sprouts, bean sprouts, but you have something here, I believe, a little visual for us on what the process actually looks like from start to finish and how long it takes.
Right, yes. I decided to put together some slides to teach people in a really simple way how to grow a seed called a lentil. Lentils sprout just fabulously. So there's our first picture, and let me just walk you through what to do.
Just for the record, these are lentils, and then people can buy lentils anywhere, right? Lentils are pretty much available anywhere.
It's a very easily accessible seed. Most markets have lentils. Right. Health food stores, you can buy them in bulk. They're very easy to get.
Right.
And they're also very easy to sprout. So if you look at this picture, you'll see that is a quart jar. where it says Monday morning. And what I did was I took a bag of lentils and I poured half of that bag into that jar, and you can see that the seeds go up about halfway. And then I filled it up with water, and I did this on a Monday morning. So right across from it, you'll see the next picture. It's the same jar, same lentil seeds, but 5 hours later, that same day on Monday, you can see how those seeds have expanded dramatically, and they're almost up at the top of the water.
Wow.
And so those seeds are active, they're germinating, they're growing. And if you do this with a seed and you can see it growing up like that after a few hours in the water, that tells you that it's a good seed. It's not a bad seed.
Right.
Some seeds don't sprout because they're bad, they're too old.
Okay.
But most seeds do. So 5 hours later, that's what you have. Now then, let's go to the next slide. And this was just the same day. I took that jar that was full of water, and I had a little sprout lid, which are easy to get with little holes. So I poured the water into a sink, and then right across from that, you can see I took that jar and I tilted it, and I put it in a little plastic, just a little plastic tray. Yeah, and so that the water would just continue to go out. You don't want water, you don't want your seeds sitting in water once you've begun sprouting them. And so that's what I do. I take it, I just let it sit there on an angle, and the idea basically is that you give them a bath one time to get them growing.
Okay.
And then you rinse them twice a day. You give them a shower. That's a simple way to say it. Give them a bath once to get them going, and then you rinse them twice a day and give them a shower. And then you just keep pouring out the water, put more water in, pour it out, and you do that twice a day.
So I got a question. So you said that one picture showed about 5 hours. So do you leave the water in there for 5 hours and then pour it out, or how long? Okay.
Yes, you soak the seeds for 5 hours, and then you pour the water out.
Okay.
And then you let it sit on an angle so the water will continue to drain.
Right.
And then I did that on Monday. I started them on Monday morning. Monday afternoon, I drained out the water. Monday evening, I took that same jar, and I probably took the lid off and put water in from the sink, just put it under a faucet, and filled it up, and then drained it out.
Okay.
And I let it sit there overnight. And so, again, the idea is you give them a bath under the water one time, and then you rinse them, which is your shower. You rinse them twice a day. So let's go back to the screen. And so now you can see I started them Monday morning, and by Tuesday morning, not only had the seeds grown up in that little quart jar, but if you look really carefully, you can see that they are sprouting. They're growing, and that's only one day. And then what happened was by Tuesday evening, they were growing up, and I had too many. So that little quart jar was too small. And so then I poured the little quart jar into a 2-quart jar. And what you see on the opposite side there, that is now a 2-quart jar.
Wow.
And I rinsed them Tuesday morning, I rinsed them Tuesday evening, I rinsed them Wednesday morning, and sometime during the rest of the day Wednesday, I took that picture, and you can see now that the sprouts have grown all the way up to the top of the 2-quart jar. So this is just 2 days. So again, you just soak them for a few hours, pour out the water, and you rinse them twice a day, morning and evening, and within 24 hours, they're rapidly growing up and they're starting to sprout. And by 2 days, you have a full 2-quart jar full of sprouts that are ready to eat.
Okay, so by just 2 days?
Yeah, 2 days.
So do you let them go any further than that? Do they keep growing, and is that the prime time to eat them at that point?
Yeah, it's really a preference thing.
All right.
Sometimes, I grow them 3 days, maybe 4 days. Lentils grow very fast. But I typically, with my lentils, I like 2 days.
Okay.
And so I grow them about this big, and that's called, they're not in the microgreen stage yet, they're in the sprouting stage because they're just starting to grow. And after 2 days, those lentils are ready. So you could take that jar, you could pour the lentils into a bag, and you can put it in your refrigerator, or you can just stick the jar in your refrigerator. And then you don't do any more rinsing, and when it's time for lunch, you just take that jar, take off the lid, pour them into your salad and whatever other things you add into your salad, and you've got living food in your salad.
So so you can eat these raw just like that without even cooking them.
That's right. I never cook my sprouts. Now, some
right.
people do. They cook their sprouts, but I don't.
Okay.
And with lentils, lentils have a very mild taste. It's kind of an earthy taste, but there's not a lot of flavor to lentils. It's a little bit like some sprouts. A lot of sprouts are a little bit like tofu. That depending upon how you season them, that's the flavor that they take.
Nice.
So now there's other sprouts like arugula. I like to grow arugula into the microgreen stage, and I put those on my salad, and they are spicy. They've got kick, and I love them. And then sunflower sprouts, I grow those into the microgreen stage, and those are just they're the king of microgreens. They are delicious. A lot of markets will, or at least there's growers that grow sunflowers, and they send these to restaurants. And it's just a delicacy, and they can charge a lot. And my kids, they will just pick, when I bring in a big tray of sunflower greens, my kids will just start picking. And sometimes, I'll cut them up, I'll put them in a little bowl for them, I'll add a little bit of salt, a little bit of nutritional yeast, mix it up, and my kids just devour that. And so sunflower greens, the microgreen sprouts, they taste really good. Arugula's got more of a kick. There's a wide variety. Clover is more mild. Alfalfa, it has an alfalfa taste. But a lot of them, it really depends upon how you season them. And so with lentils, you can grow lentils on a regular basis. And what I do many times is once I've got my jar of lentils or my bag in my refrigerator, I will, when I have my granola in the morning or my oatmeal or a waffle, on go the lentils. And then on top of the waffle, with the lentils, I've got some blueberries or some strawberries, and lentils just make a really nice addition to a pancake, to a waffle, to oatmeal, to granola. And then when I have lunch, it goes in my salad. You can put it on a sandwich, you can put it on a wrap. And once you learn how to do it, it's really, a child can grow lentils. It's very easy, very accessible, and if you do it on a regular basis, and if you Google health benefits of lentil sprouts, I mean, you can do health benefits of alfalfa sprout, health benefits of broccoli sprouts, of clover sprouts, you will find that the nutrients that are in these sprouts are practically off the charts.
That's amazing.
And they're very easy to grow, very easy to consume on a regular basis. And people just, they don't know what to do. I've heard people say, I'd like to sprout, but I don't know where to start. It's kind of, it's daunting to them to think, how do I do that? And I have, as you know, I not only have a book on this, but I actually have an entire course where I teach people through video instruction exactly how to grow these seeds, how to grow many different kinds of seeds, and I demonstrate that right in front of them.
We're going to come right back to that in just a moment. I have to ask this question, though, because there's got to be someone right now watching this that probably is thinking, this just sounds real new agey, right? It kind of sounds like something mystical or people of that type of culture or mentality might do. Have you ever had somebody challenge you on that? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I know that a lot of people that are into the New Age movement and into the mystical movement and into all kinds of things, many of them do sprout. And there are a lot of raw restaurants that are out there in certain cities. I don't know if there's one in St. Louis. It just depends on, I've gone in, I travel and I'm in a lot of airports, and some airports have good vegetarian options, some airports don't, like Phoenix. They hardly have any vegetarian food. So depending upon the, if you go to California, you'll have lots of restaurants that serve sprouts. So it depends on the area, but there are many restaurants around the country that have delicious raw food cuisine, and they have lots of sprouts. And sometimes they also have books about meditation and mysticism and things that we would stay away from because it's not in the Bible. But as far as sprouting itself, I mean, when you go back to Genesis, the Bible says, God says, to Adam and Eve, I've given you every seed bearing, bearing fruit and the vegetables. So God originally gave us a diet from the soil, and it was grown from seeds.
That's right.
And so the idea of growing a sprout is not a New Age concept. It's any seed that anybody grows in their garden, they're sprouting. They either get them started before they put them in their garden, or they plant the seeds in the garden. So we all have been eating sprouted things all of our lives. But like I said, the benefit of doing it yourself is that it's inexpensive, it's easy, and you're bypassing all of the chemicals and the deficient soil, et cetera, so you're getting the most potent food that you can eat, and it's easy to do. And like I said, once you learn how to do it, I mean, it's kind of like when I was a teenager, I was addicted to some things that are not good, and I gave those things up.
Sure.
But I've continued sprouting because I know that sprouting is really good for my body, and I've learned that, and the evidence is there. There's a website, the International Sprout Growers Association, and that website is loaded with scientific studies on the health benefits of growing sprouts and microgreens. So this is not a New Age thing. It's like exercise. People get into yoga, and they discover many times that while the exercises may be good, the philosophy that's underneath there isn't good. And of course, you can attach a philosophy to just about anything, but just the simple process of growing seeds and growing sprouts and microgreens, there's nothing New Age about that. It's biblical and it's healthy.
Absolutely. I have to admit something. When I looked at the sheet where we told us the topic we were going to be talking about today, I stopped in my mind and I thought to myself, sprouts? Really? Yeah. But after hearing you talk about this, you've got me interested, and I'm assuming there's someone watching right now that wants to know a little bit more about this, and this kind of sets us up for you to be able to give us a little bit more detail about your website, because if you want to learn more how to actually do this, you teach us how to do that through your website. So tell us a little bit about that.
We have a course, and as I mentioned, that's why I walk people through the lentils, those pictures. So I could show people that they can do this in their home, and it's very easy to do. Now I have a friend of mine, a partner who I work with at White Horse Media, and because he knows all about how much I've been sprouting, we decided to team up and put together an entire course.
Wow.
So I'm the speaker and the demonstrator, and he was the recorder. Sometimes my kids recorded when he couldn't do it, so my daughter or my son had the cell phone. But we actually recorded an entire series where I'm in my kitchen. I've got all my different little, I've got the jars, I've got the small trays, the bigger trays, the larger trays for the microgreens, and I demonstrate how to grow alfalfa. We have first sections called the ABCs, alfalfa, broccoli, clover. And then we have lentils, mung, and peas, the LMPs. And we also have barley and rye. And then we have sunflowers, and we have buckwheat groats. And they watch me in my kitchen with my jars and my trays, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. They see exactly what I do. They see me pouring out the water, pouring in the water, and they see the seeds growing. And then they see us with our scissors, snipping them off, putting them in the salad. We mix in the avocado and squeeze in the lemon and put some nutritional yeast on there, and they see the whole thing. So they learn how to do this. And in this course, which it's called Sprouting with Steve, it's basically divided into 3 major sections where I teach people how to grow simple sprouts, lots of different sprouts, in different ways, so people can choose. I like the jar, I like the little tray, I like this one, I like that seed. And we also tell people where to get all their seeds and all their supplies, one place. And so we go through the sprouting section, and then the next section is simple microgreens, where I show them how to grow them bigger. And that's in soil with just regular potting soil. So we have simple microgreens, and I teach about buckwheat, great big buckwheat trays, and sunflower greens, and wheatgrass, and peas. Oh, peas are a great sprout to grow into a microgreen stage. And then we have a third section, which is on how to grow simple microgreens without any dirt. So there's no potting soil or dirt from your garden. You're just using your seeds and water. And so I demonstrate that, and they watch them grow. They watch the kohlrabi grow, and these different seeds, mustard greens, and they just grow right there, and they see all that. So the course walks people through. It's a master course on teaching people exactly what to do. We have a motto, and the motto is, you can do it.
That's right.
So as I'm demonstrating this, I'm looking at the camera and I'm saying, now you can do what I'm doing. You know where to get these seeds now, because we tell them where to get them all from one place, and we show them the different options, the different kinds of jars and trays. We show them how to soak them, how to drain them, how to rinse them. They watch them grow. So it's very practical. I mean, as you know from reading my books, one of the gifts that God has given me is an ability to teach. I'm a teacher.
Amen.
I make things simple.
Absolutely.
And I do the same thing in the sprouting course. Now, of course, people can, they can do their own research. They can read books. They can go on YouTube. They can watch a whole bunch of different videos, which often go in many different directions. And everybody is, of course, free to do that. But if they want to be spoon-fed and learn exactly how to do it and go to one place in a simple way, that's what Sprouting with Steve is all about.
I pulled it up right here. You could probably see it on my iPad, sproutingwithsteve.com. I've already went there on my iPad. You can go there as well, sproutingwithsteve.com. I think we even had a picture with the website, and it kind of shows again for those who might have just tuned in. There we go. There's Pastor Steve Wohlberg with all of his sprouts.
Yes, and,
wow.
and those are actually from the court. Those pictures were taken. You can see on the upper right-hand corner there, you can see me with a big tray, and that's buckwheat lettuce. Buckwheat lettuce is fabulous, and below that is purple Rambo radish. And then on the left side those are sunflower greens, and right in the middle there's mung, and on top, with me pointing my finger over there, those are pea sprouts. And those are all those pictures are actually pea microgreens.
It almost looks like wheatgrass.
Yeah, no, those I know those are peas. The wheatgrass are somewhere else. The wheatgrass are over where I've got my thumbs up over there in the right-hand corner. The wheatgrass are there over on the side. That's wheatgrass. And down below that is a big tray of sunflower greens where Abby's and Seth are taking bite. That's Abby, my 12-year-old, Seth, our 16-year-old, and they're right there ready to start eating.
Wow.
And so, all those pictures are taken from the course. So I'm showing people how to grow those things, and then we just took a collage of those pictures and put them into that.
That's amazing. So obviously the course goes into great detail on a variety of different seeds that you can sprout. But I just have to ask you, maybe somebody else is wondering this, if you just had 2 or 3 go-to sprouts, that if your go-to, if that's something that you could just use on a daily basis, 2 or 3, what are your favorites?
Well, the simplest ones to grow, very simple, are those lentils.
Okay.
And also mung. It's hard to go wrong with mung. Now, mung you normally need to get, probably not at a market, but at a health food store.
Okay.
Some, like not far from where I live, there's a Pilgrim's Market, and they've got bulk bins, and you can buy plenty of mung seeds, and they're not expensive, and they're super simple to grow in a jar. There's other ways to grow them, but so I would say, the simplest are lentils, mung. Another very simple one is sunflower seeds, raw, and that's raw sunflower seeds. You can soak your raw sunflower seeds in a jar like they saw with the lentils.
Right.
You soak them, I typically soak them overnight, and then I drain out the water, and I tilt the jar, and then in the evening I give them another rinse, drain out the water, tilt the jar, and within 2 days you'll have nice size raw sunflower seeds that are sprouting. These are not with the shells. When you grow them into the bigger microgreen stage, you want to have them with the shell, and I teach people how to do that. But for just with the jar, raw organic sunflower seeds without a shell, you can grow those very easily, and those are great in your oatmeal, your granola, on top of your waffles, in your salads, and they taste like sunflower seeds. They're nutty, and yet when they're growing into the sprouting stage, like I said, the vitamin E content is just multiplying in sunflowers.
That's
a lot of vitamin E. And you do research, on what does vitamin E do for the body? What does vitamin B complex do for the body? What does vitamin C do for the body? What does vitamin A? And all these different vitamins. And then you look at how many of these vitamins are in sprouted seeds and microgreens. Then you realize, wow, this is really beneficial to the body. I mean, I've had lots of people say to me, and I thank God, I know that, anything can happen to anybody. I'm thankful that I'm still alive at 61. But at 61, I feel like, I'm doing pretty good. I feel like I can still go jogging and walking for 4 miles.
Praise the Lord.
And I'm happy. I'm blessed. I've been through a lot. God has brought me through many dark days. He's given me the strength to go through these things. And I think that sprouting has been a big part of my, the health that I have.
So your favorite out of all of them, what is that? Which one?
My favorite?
Your favorite.
I think my favorite would be probably sunflowers grown into the microgreen stage, and buckwheat. And also, I really like arugula.
Arugula.
Yeah, when I did my course, this company that we work with is called True Leaf Market, where we get all our seeds. They sent me a bunch of seeds and different supplies to demonstrate, because they know that we're doing this and we're directing people to their company. So they were happy to send me a whole bunch of free supplies. And when I started sprouting arugula, I like arugula in my garden. And another benefit of growing sprouts is you don't have to deal with weeds in your garden, where you have to get out there and weed. I mean, there's no weeds growing in a little tray of arugula. And you can grow them without any dirt, and within just, a very short time, you're putting them in your salad.
That
They're
is awesome.
delicious.
So just take about a minute or so, because we're getting down to almost the end of our time, but somebody might be asking, what's the best time of year to grow sprouts? Is there a particular time of year? Or?
Sure, you can grow any time of year, as long as you're not growing them in, with the microgreens, you don't want the temperature in your room to be too hot. You want to keep it on the cooler side, 70 degrees, because they could, they're more susceptible to mold. For me personally, I'm in my garden during the spring and the summer, but once it gets colder and the snow starts coming down and I can't grow anything in my garden, I shift gears to sprouts, and I grow all winter, all kinds of different sprouts, so I can have fresh veggies in the middle of the winter. But you can do it any time of year. And in my course, I explain all this and teach people what to do.
Absolutely. And that's actually what we're going to do now. We're not quite finished yet. Still have a little over a couple of minutes yet left. But again, Sprout Power, the little booklet you can get from White Horse Media.
Yes.
And we're going to put up in just a moment, we're going to bring up here exactly how you can contact White Horse Media, how you can get a copy of Pastor Wohlberg's books, his new book on climate change, again on Armageddon, and also everything you've been hearing about sprouting, Sprout Power, the new little booklet, as well as how to get in contact with this new course on his website. We're going to go to that right now. So again, get out your notepad, get out your pens. Here it is.
For more information about White Horse Media, please contact them at whitehorsemedia.com. That's whitehorsemedia.com or sproutingwithsteve.com. Their number is 1-800-782-4253. That's 1-800-782-4253. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 130, Priest River, Idaho 83856. That's P.O. Box 130, Priest River, Idaho 83856.
Welcome back, friends. We've had such a wonderful time with Pastor Steve Wohlberg from White Horse Media. Pastor, give us some final thoughts, some final remarks on the school, the cost, things like that associated with it.
Yeah, and Sharon, let me just share a text. 3 John verse 2 says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers." So God wants us to be healthy, and sprouting is about one of the best things you can do for your body. So as I mentioned, we have a course for those who are interested. The main website is sproutingwithsteve.com. They can go on that page and they can read all about the course. They can watch a video there of me talking about sprouting and the course. And there is a cost to it. we've spent, I don't know how many hours filming, recording, and all this, so we feel it's reasonable. It's just a one-time cost. There's no gimmicks, nothing. We even have a money-back guarantee if you don't like it,
All right.
which people don't do that. They don't ask for their money back. Only one time, I think, of all the people that have joined, and that person was probably too busy. But anyway, if they want to join the course, when they check out, there's a little discount code area where they can type in a discount code, Friend of Steve, no spaces, Friend of Steve, and if they do that, they get the course at half off. And then they get an email with the membership information. They log into a website, and they can go and they can watch all the videos. So it's all there. We're here to help. We hope it's a blessing to lots of people.
Man, you got me. You won me over, man. I'm going to sign up. I'm gonna become a member of this so I can sign up and watch all the videos. My friends, that's what it's about. We are about the gospel, and a major part of the gospel is the health message. It's about learning how to take care of yourself. It's about giving glory to God. That's what this is ultimately all about. It's His property, it's His body, and you are His child. And so, Pastor, thank you so much for joining us today. We, again, always thank you for taking time to join us on these special programs. We want to say God bless you. We're praying for all of you, and until next time, may God bless you abundantly.